Hello, Miss Gillen. This is Garrett Jones from Speech 1315, Section 10, and I'm here, and this is my Speech 1 recording. So let's begin. Angus, Brangus, Simangus, Simmental. Regardless of the breed, if a producer is interested in maximizing his herd genetic quality, then he should consider utilizing artificial insemination, embryo transfer, or IVF or in vitro fertilization. Now, this all starts with artificial insemination. This can be considered the basis of any beef reproductive program or can be considered the first tool in the toolbox. So, artificial insemination can provide a more economical calf crop as to natural service breeding. However, with that, it can also provide for a genetically superior calf crop as well. So, how does AI work? AI works by a technician removing a straw of the desired frozen item from a liquid nitrogen tank and placing it into a thaw box containing 95-degree water where it will lay for 40 seconds. Once that time is up, the technician will remove the straw, clip the end of it, and place it into an AI rod. That rod will then be inserted vaginally into the bee female, while the technician will insert his other arm rectally. And once inside, the technician must bypass the cervix, which is threading the three annular rings, and once completed, the technician may deposit the semen. Now, embryo transfer offers a major additional capability over artificial insemination, thus making it the second tool in our toolbox. Now, embryo transfer, like artificial insemination, offers for the ability to select elite sires. But the difference is with embryo transfer, we can also select for elite donor genetics as well. So, how does embryo transfer work? The process begins, according to Mississippi State University Extension, by FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. This hormone acts as an agent to stimulate follicular development in hopes that the maximum number of ovum are being produced. Then, a technician will artificially inseminate each donor 2 to 3 times in hopes that all produced ovum are now fertilized and developing into viable embryos. Then, 7 days later, a technician will flush out the embryos from the donor's uterine body and they will be captured in a searchable filter. This filter will then be brought into the lab where the contents can be counted, graded, and evaluated to determine which stage each embryo is in. Then there will be 3 options presented to the viable embryos. Either A, they can be implanted fresh into that producer's herd. B, they can be frozen for later implementation. Or C, they can be frozen, sold, and implanted into another producer's herd. Now, let's keep on adding tools to the toolbox with in vitro fertilization, or IVF. Now, IVF is a very similar process as to embryo transfer, but the main difference is it allows for the process to be done on gestating females, approximately 40 to 100 days of pregnancy, while in both of these can be performed on open females. The process of in vitro fertilization, as Transova Genetics states, begins with a technician utilizing an ultrasound transducer. This houses a 55 centimeters long needle and is inserted into fluid-filled follicles containing the oocytes. The contents of the follicles will be aspirated out and captured in a similar searchable filter as to the one I mentioned earlier. Then this filter will also be brought into the lab where the contents will be rinsed, counted, and graded and evaluated. However, this is where the process begins to differ from embryo transfer. Now these oocytes are going to go into an incubator for a 24-hour period. Keep in mind this incubator is designed to mimic the cow's uterine body in both temperature and acidity. And once that time is up, a technician will place semen into the petri dish containing the oocytes in hopes that they are now fertilized and developing into embryos. Then they'll go back into the incubator for another 7-day period, and once that time is up, the same 3 options as to embryo transfer will be applicable here. Now, to round this down, let's talk about how this is applicable to the real world. Well, according to the USDA Cattle Inventory Report of 2025 from January 1, we're down 1% from 2024, down to 86.7 million head of cattle. Now, this can seem like a really high number, but when concerning cattle inventory, it's not. So, with that being said, the beef producers as well as dairy producers are required to produce more product with less cattle. So, therefore, we must put quality over quantity. So, if we can utilize artificial insemination, ET, or IVF, we can there improve our genetic potential. So, in conclusion, artificial insemination, embryo transfer, or in vitro fertilization are beef reproductive technologies to help you obtain your herd goals and to add to your toolbox. Thank you.